Okay, here's the reason why we're all here. 5 special individuals to get inducted into the Hawaii High School. Just no churn out there. The Hawaii Sports Officials Hall of Fame, class of 2024. There are 5 outstanding individuals who are not only the best officials, but they've all given back to their sport by leading or mentoring younger officials. The videos of each honoree were produced and edited by Daryl Harada. All right, make some noise. You guys ready to get it going? Let's meet our first inductee from the sport of water polo. Let's meet Aaron Chaney. From the first whistle on a high school pool deck, Aaron Chaney began a journey that would make waves in the world of water polo. After winning an NCAA championship as a player in 1979, Aaron would go on to have successful high school coaching runs in California and Hawaii. And those who knew him early got a sense of what kind of person he would become.
I met Aaron when he was just an 8th grader, trying out for the very first team I ever coached at Punahou all those years ago. And he definitely wasn't as big and fast as other players, but there wasn't any doubt in my mind that he had the biggest heart.
I remember that he was super friendly. That the same season that I met him, or summer that I met him, he was my younger sister's teacher, and I just remember that he was really caring, attentive, um, just kind of always checking in on us, and I felt immediately like I was like an older brother.
Aaron's passion for the game quickly spread to officiating, where he would even fly to Europe in his off time to improve his skills. And that level of dedication paid off, working 30 total NCAA men's and women's tournaments and 15 national championship matches.
Aaron has a really good idea of how things should work in his world. It comes from his parents, his own sense of standards and things. And when he's a referee, I mean, as a referee, you really you're working to create the best possible conditions for the players to be able to perform in that game. And I mean, that's kind of Aaron to a T. It's that, he goes through his life, not only for himself, but for others, kind of trying to create the best possible conditions for them to succeed.
Well, there's 2 ways of reaching the pinnacle in our sport in officiating. You can be politically connected and well liked, or you can just be just a solid blocking and tackling respected official. And Aaron falls into the latter of that category. I think that he has constantly strives to make the right decision. He doesn't show very many favorites. He has learned to become nuanced in the political arena, um, and people can trust him.
And in the pool, when you are respected, the ripple effects are massive. In 2004 and 2008, Aaron Chaney had the distinct honor of officiating in the Olympic Games. Currently, he's been inducted into the UC Santa Barbara, Hawaii Swimming, and USA Water Polo Hall of Fame. The positive products of persistence and perseverance.
I think it was just somebody that just really wanted to become the best he was capable of becoming in anything he was doing. He was willing to make any sacrifice to do basically anything. And it was just a great, enthusiastic kid to have on my very first team.
Beyond the whistles and the waves, Aaron Chaney is known for his deep well of kindness and integrity. Whether he was making calls or mentoring young referees, Aaron always kept his head above water, balancing fairness with compassion. His dedication to the sport and the people in it has left a lasting impression on everyone he's met.
He's fun. He's funny. He's not only good. He's a great referee, and and uh, and he has earned the respect of so many people just by being who he is and not trying to be somebody he thinks people want him to be. That has made Aaron Chaney.
Congratulations. This is something that you obviously earned, and it's so deserved. But most of all, I want to say thank you. Your contributions to Hawaii water polo, to United States water polo, really to the world as a referee are great. But most thank you for what you've done for me. That's yeah. Thank you and congratulations.
Greatness like his never sinks. It only rises. Congratulations to 2024 Hawaii Sports Officials Hall of Fame inductee, Aaron Chaney. Going to be an emotional night. He's well loved, well respected. Very proud to induct, for the first time here tonight, one of five, our first inductee to the 2024 Hawaii Sports Officials Hall of Fame, Aaron Chaney.
This is a little daunting. I've never spoken in front of this many people. And as much as I enjoy receiving awards, writing and delivering a speech is a challenge. And I usually end up reading mine from a script. While I was writing this one last week, I was watching the Democratic National Convention. And I'm not going to talk politics with you. But in watching some of the speakers, I sat there wishing that I had the command of language and the artistic skill of speaking like Michelle and Barack Obama. Oh well, I'll give it a try. So let me start by saying good evening, fellow inductees, Hall of Fame board members, and distinguished guests. I feel privileged and honored to be inducted into the Hawaii Sports Officials Hall of Fame tonight. I have many people to thank for this introduction. For many of us elders, we know that our journey through life is never taken alone. There are many people that helped us along the way to get where we are today. I'd like to share my journey with you tonight and take great pride in it because I think it's a unique and somewhat fascinating story, so I hope you'll agree. Not even my 15-year-old daughter has heard it because it happened before she was born. But first, I'd like to start by thanking certain people that are responsible for me receiving this honor tonight. I'd like to begin by thanking my parents who supported me throughout my life. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about them and what they taught me. Their tough love made me the strong and resilient person I am today. I want to thank my wife, Hermia, and my daughter, Kaya, for their unending love and support. I want to thank the Sports Officials Hall of Fame Board of Directors for selecting me to the class of 2024. I'm sure you had many candidates to choose from, so thank you for my selection. I also want to thank Cal Evans, president of the board, for his many emails to me and the rest of the inductees for keeping us updated on schedule and meeting deadlines. Next, I want to thank Felipe Hohastro for making extra time to interview my friends for my video since they were out of town when the video interviews were originally scheduled. Last, I want to thank my good friend Mark Moretzky, who spoke there, and Ken and Russ for your kind words. But Mark's seated at the table here for giving up his nomination and replacing it with mine. Cal contacted him about his nomination. But he asked Cal if Aaron Chaney, is he already in the Hall of Fame? And Cal said, no, I don't know who he is. So Mark said to him, he needs to be in there before me. So Mark sent Cal my resume and basically sacrificed his nomination for mine. So thank you, Mark. Your $500 check is in the mail. Last, I want to congratulate all the other nominees, Jim Beavers, Tom Yoshida, and the families of the late Abe Pacheco and Stoop Shimogawa for their induction tonight as well. So we're being honored here tonight because we dedicated ourselves to the sport we love through hard work and sacrifice. It's something we never dreamed of or thought about, but are proud to be recognized for. Either one person or many people encouraged us as we got started on our journeys and supported us along the way that ultimately got us here to this point tonight. This is the icing on the cake. So I'd like to take a few minutes to share my journey with you, thanking those people who supported me along the way. Some are here tonight, while a few are not. My journey started with a man who moved to Hawaii from California back in 1971. And became the water polo coach at Pono in the summer following my 9th grade year. He's the reason for much of my success. Meaning I'm standing here tonight because I had the privilege and opportunity to play for such an amazing coach and person. And believe it or not, he's still coaching after 52 years. His name is Ken Smith, seated right here. Please raise your hand, Ken. He provided me with the opportunity to play water polo in college at the Division I level, a thought that never occurred to me, quite different from today's high school athletes. He believed in me more than I believed in myself. And when that happens, you find yourself soaring to heights you never imagined. He was a close friend of the coach at UC Santa Barbara, and between the two of them, they got me admitted to the school because I didn't have the grades or test scores to make it alone. Ken had guided me through my career at Santa Barbara, and his support was instrumental in helping me get through some of the most tough times. 4 years later, in 1979, our team won the NC2A championship, and we were all inducted in the school's Hall of Fame. One of my teammates that season is here tonight, supporting me in receiving this honor. His name is Greg Boyer. Greg? Greg was the NCAA Player of the Year that year, also a member of the 1988 Olympic team that won silver medal, and a 2000 Sydney Olympic referee. His nomination of me allowed me to be inducted into the USA Water Polo Hall of Fame a little over a year ago. Thanks for being here, Greg. Ken's support, guidance, and mentoring continued after college. Upon my return to Hawaii, he persuaded me to take the head coaching position at Iolani School, arch rivals of Punahou. He and I combined the boys from both schools and formed a club team called Hawaiian Islands Water Polo. We coached together in the summers for the next 20 years. We added girls in the mid-90s when the ILH added it as a sport. However, I wanted to referee. I had some experience refereeing club high school games one summer in Santa Barbara, but I could not ref high school games in Hawaii because I was coaching. However, I did ref a fair number of games during our annual Hawaiian Invitational Tournament every August that featured teams from the mainland and foreign countries. And often received praise from parents and coaches from the various teams. A good friend and former teammate of mine, Russ Haverkamp, the man in the glasses in the video, played in the same tournament and witnessed my refereeing. At that time, he was working for a company that was sponsoring and hosting a tournament featuring only the top 4 teams in the country. He was in charge of inviting only 4 referees. He knew of my ambition to be a referee and told me I could be one of those 4, the other 3 being referees that were the best in the nation and internationally acclaimed. I questioned my participation, but he said, "I'm running the tournament, so I can invite whoever I want to. Do you want in or not?" So there I was, thrown into the fire right away. I was the newcomer, a person who no one had seen before, but it was over. The coaches' evaluations were that I showed promise, so my career in officiating began. I first started refereeing men's club games in the summers, but in a few years I progressed into the collegiate scene. This meant taking the red eye on Friday nights to Los Angeles or San Francisco with 2 to 3 games on Saturday and the same Sunday, sometimes off the plane and straight to an 8 a.m. game. I would then take the last flight home on Sunday night, arriving in Honolulu at 10 or 11 p.m., back to teaching Monday morning and coaching in the afternoon. It was mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausting, but I loved every bit of it. Within about 5 to 6 years, I received an invitation to referee my first men's NC2A championship tournament in 1989. And 12 years later, I finally earned the right to officiate my first championship game. Within those 12 years, I worked my way onto the international referees list, which consisted of only 7 referees, among countless across the country. In the first 5 years, I traveled to a few tournaments with the men's senior and junior national teams. But it wasn't until the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta where I got a volunteer position as a goal judge. And I realized I wanted to referee at that level. So I made it my goal from that point forward. Refereeing in the Olympics was never a lifetime dream. The Sydney Olympics were in June of 2000, and I was one of the 4 referees nominated, but only 2 would be chosen. I was not one of them, while my good friend Greg was. For years, my colleagues were telling me that I should consider moving to California so that I could move up the ranks. But I loved my job at Iolani and my life in Hawaii. But after coming so close to making it to the Olympics in 2000, I changed my mind and moved to Newport Beach in Southern California, a few weeks before the Sydney Games. It was a really tough decision, but I took the risk and went for it, thanks to the support from my parents and insightful guidance from an old neighborhood friend. Remember, there were 2 referees chosen to Sydney. Greg was continuing to ref after 2000, but the other ref was retiring, so I figured I stood a decent chance for 2004. So upon my move, I began reffing high school boys, junior college men, D1, D2, D3 men's and women's NCAA games, almost on a daily basis. I drove to men's national team practices and volunteered to ref their scrimmages 1 or 2 times a week. I did what I came to do. Then came the shocker. A few months after the Sydney Olympics, the International Aquatics Federation, which governs all the rules of water polo, decided to limit the number of referees selected to the 2004 Olympics to only 1 referee per country. I was sick. Greg did 2000, and he was planning on returning for 2004. I had no chance. I had just left the life and jobs I loved so much in Hawaii with the thought that I had a chance at one of those 2 spots, and now only 1 referee would be chosen. What would I do? Since I did not have a full-time job, I was single, and was just coaching a girls' high school team in the area, I made myself available for every men's and women's national team trip. All the other refs had to work, so I spent the better part of the next 4 years traveling all over the world, with both teams to big tournaments in Europe, Asia, South America, and Australia. I earned the opportunity to referee the World Championships in 2001 and 2003, and called the semifinal matches in both, and the women's bronze medal in 2003. I refereed World League games in Europe and South America and was chosen for the Superfinals tournament in 2004, where I refereed the final match prior to the Olympics. I traveled on my own dime to Europe twice, once in 2003 and again in 2005, just to watch the European Championships. Other referees wondered, why would I do that? The Europeans questioned my presence because American referees were never invited to that tournament, since only European teams competed. I told everyone I was going to watch players and teams to learn their tendencies and styles of play, so that I would be better prepared to officiate those same players and teams in the upcoming World Championships that I was selected to referee later that summer. I wanted to be prepared and the best I could be right from the start. I guess all the traveling and learning paid off, because when the nominations were announced for 2004, my name was on the list. I was so fortunate to be selected as the lone referee to represent the USA for the Olympic Games in Athens, Greece. I had achieved my goal, but it came with the help of many colleagues and referee mentors in the US, older and more experienced than me, and from people like Greg and Rick Curry, who also came from the mainland to support me, both of whom I refereed with in many top-level college games and NCAA championship games. We collaborated and learned from each other, all the while vying for that 1 Olympic spot. One man in particular, however, was most influential and to whom I owe much of my international success as a referee. He was from Turkey. His name was Erhan Tolga. He was one of the top 2 referees in the world. I watched him call all the top games in Sydney. I was inspired by his poise, style, consistency, and level of confidence. A year before that, in 1999, I worked a pre-Olympic women's tournament with him in Athens. This was one of my first European League tournaments, and I was having some struggles with how the evaluators wanted me to call the game. Erhan saw this, took me under his wing, and gave me positive support and guidance that helped me through the rest of the tournament, and he became my biggest supporter and mentor for the next 9 years. We officiated many tournaments together. We spent hours together watching games, studying many players' skills and tendencies, analyzing strategies of the different teams and the other referees' interpretations of the games and their style of calls. He just liked watching, and I wanted to learn. Erhan even came to watch my games and gave me feedback afterwards. I listened to his critiques, studied his style and techniques, and discussed it with him after. He was the master, and I was the grasshopper. Erhan was responsible for nearly all my success as a referee on the international level. I knew I had graduated to master status when I was selected to referee semifinal and final matches with him or Boris Margetta, the other top referee in the world, in 2003 and 2005 World Championships. I could not have asked for a better teacher, role model, and supporter who became a genuine friend. After 2004, I decided to stay on for another Olympiad and was chosen to referee the World Championships again in 2005 and 2007. In 2008, I was again selected as the lone referee from the US to the Olympic Games in Beijing. I was lucky I was fortunate, I was blessed to have so many people supporting, encouraging, and mentoring me along my journey. And it all started with one person, my lifetime friend, colleague, and mentor, Ken Smith. Water polo has been good for me. It's been more than the games. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ken, for allowing me the opportunity to live that journey. Water polo has been very good to me. It's been more than the games as a player, coach, and referee. It's been all the people I've met, the relationships I've built with players I have coached, the friends I've made, and the places I've traveled all across the world. So in tribute to you, I would like to finish with a quote from your favorite coaching mentor, John Wood, who worked in the office next to yours at UCLA back in the late 1960s. The quote is, "Success is peace of mind," which is the direct result of knowing you did your best to become the best you're capable of becoming. Lastly, thank you to all of you here for having the patience and allowing me to share my officiating journey with you tonight. Thank you.